Shlomo, welcome aboard to the show. So happy to have you today.
Great being here. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start on a personal note. I absolutely love when people kind of support their communities and volunteer. I'd love to start with something a little different. Tell us about the Nova project.
Okay, cool. Nova Project is Nova is an NGO that supports other NGOs. Uh, Many NGOs are trying to do some very good things to the communities where they are and stuff like that. Many of them just find management challenging. Lots of good intentions, but you need to know how you need some practice, to manage something to bring results. So the Nova project took a huge project, take 21 NGOs every year. People that are doing amazing things, but kind of struggle. It can be with financials, it can be with actually achieving their KPIs that are aimed at.
Wait, hold on,
And
hold on. Is this an accelerator for NGOs? Is that what you're saying?
not at all. It's an
Okay.
annual project. They take
Okay.
21 NGOs every year, and they support these 21 NGOs and trying to bring them to enrich them with all the know-how and with all the processes and with managing what they're doing to achieve the goals that they're actually aiming at, whether it's financial to support them just staying alive
Right.
or achieving the other KPIs.
And what does the
In
program look
addition,
like?
what it looks like. Okay, so it works with some three large universities.
Mm.
It's an annual course for the students. Very, very challenging one. You need to accept, not easy to accept, high demand
Oh, wow.
for this course. A very challenging one. And these students have to analyze these NGOs. They separate into groups. Each group get an NGO, with a team leader. Team
Mm.
leader is a volunteer who works for a consulting firm, mainly one of the big fours.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Okay, so these consultants take their time and volunteering, and the mentor. Mentor is most cases it's a C-level executive who can, talk at eye level with NGO CEOs, sometimes with authorities, with the government,
Oh,
with the
wow.
city, stuff like that.
So basically, it's almost a consulting project where students are analyzing the organization. You have an actual Big Four consultant and an experienced C-level. This is amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's some awesome success stories. What has been your personal experience with the program? How it's affected the kids and how it affect, I should say, students, young adults, and how it's affected the NGOs. What's your favorite moment in the program?
Let's start with the students.
Hmm.
I love the fact that you asked about the students, about the young people there. From my perspective, I think it was I think it was the goal from my perspective. Because these young people, students, who study very hard and they take a course which is more challenging than, and as they said, more challenging than more demanding than any
I
other
love
course
that.
in the university. And they don't do it just for the credits.
Hmm.
They do it because they believe they're doing something good. And I
Hmm.
think it is doing amazing for these people. It's the way to distribute our commitment to the community. They see these guys from the big four consultants who earn there's nice salaries and work pretty hard. And they see these C-level executives who don't really need anything else to do, and they work pretty hard as well. And
Hmm.
all these people find the time to leave their families and to leave their job and to do something just for the community.
Hmm.
And and I think it gives a lot to these students the fact that they're not alone. It kind of building the notion that it's okay, it's legit. You should do.
Hmm.
You're part of the good guys once you volunteer and do something for the community that you live in.
I,
It's not only you. It's not
that's
only
it's
your
so
part.
delightful. What has any of the students come back to you, whatever, 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, and said this program had an effect on me, it changed my life?
I heard more twice. I remember twice. Then when we wrapped up the year at the
Hmm.
end of the year, kind of celebrate and list what the students said. Twice it happened to me that students said it was the most challenging course we ever had,
Oh,
but
wow.
it was the reason It was what we expected to have from university.
Mm.
Because it's extremely challenging,
Man.
because you don't, take a business administration courses.
Yeah.
You have a case study, you
Yeah.
analyze it. And then four very brilliant students,
Yeah.
within 3 weeks, come to a conclusion exactly what a huge company, a $1 trillion company, should have done. That's not how it works in real life.
Mm.
Okay? So in real life, you analyze, you build your concept, you deliver it to the NGO, and then you try to implement it. And then you find out that real life don't really work the way you expected it.
Mm.
Because when you start to deliver, you make it real life.
Right.
Things happen. It's not going the way you wanted. And more than one time, you build your analysis, you build your tests, and it all kind of collapse.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work in real life. And you have to pull yourself together and to work harder and to make things happen. And so it's extremely challenging for these young people. And as they said, it changed their perspective of what actually consulting and what actually management, working with real life, is like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
On one side, I feel like ecstatic about that. That's amazing. On the other side, it's not a great testament to how education is done in our universities. I did an MBA with, a top university, University of Chicago. I got to tell you, I've posted multiple times that I feel like I've been scammed. But the good news is that it feels like your program that you participated in, it gave these young adults justification that, well, maybe the degree was actually a great thing. So maybe you're the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming towards us in this case.
yeah, it's not middle age, but yeah, I met students in universities, and I told them, guys, I'm afraid the university is misleading you.
Mm.
In the university, when you get 100,
Yeah.
You're great. In real life, there is no 100. If you think you're A, then you're wrong. Then you're absolutely out of focus. You
Yeah.
don't know what's really. In real life, if you don't fail,
Yeah.
no way you can succeed.
I want to dive into this. So I'll start with a personal story. My
Okay.
son, he's 2 grades above his grade level in math. So he was in 6th grade. He's doing 8th grade math, and he was tested on 8th grade math. And this is called the Idaho test. It's kind of a famous thing. And he got 97 percentile. So only 3% of the people got a better grade than him. He got 97 percentile testing on math 2 years above his grade, right? So he comes home, he's like, hey, daddy, this is what happened, da da da. I'm like, you're an idiot. Why do I say you're an idiot? Yep. So why do I say you're an idiot? Now, he knows me and he knows my philosophy, so this was no surprise for him. So his response is this: yes, daddy, you are an idiot too, and I will continue to work hard to cure myself of this ailment for the rest of my life. And this is based on a philosophy that if you think that you are an A++, you have nowhere more to learn, then that's where you fail. But if you have the mindset that even though somebody graded you as 97 percentile 2 years above your grade, but you still have miles and miles and miles to learn, that's the mindset that you want to have. So when I call my children idiots, they smile. And I wish everybody had that mindset of learning. So I deeply, deeply appreciate what you did and are doing with Project Nova. I want to change the topic a little bit. When you look at your employees, right, and you're in the hiring process, what are the values? What are the things? What is the fires that you want to see burning in this potential prospective employee to which you're, yep, I'm going to hire that person?
Curiosity, above all.
Why above
And
all? Like that's, I want you to say more, but before we get to the other ones, why above all? Like, wouldn't you want them to be actually really good at what they're doing? This is the hard part, the hard
no,
question
it's not.
part of the interview.
For me, it's not a hard question. I should say, for me, it's pretty trivial. When I recruit employees, mostly high-level managers, tell them only one favor on a personal level I'm asking for you. The day that you will believe that you truly now know everything you should know in your job, please quit.
Love that. You actually say this to your executives?
Always, 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 always. Because that will be the day that someone else in another organization who don't know all the things they should know would bypass us.
That's absolutely delightful. I've never heard that before. Curiosity. What else?
Commitment. I love people who are committed to things, who don't count the hours, who don't work just for the salary, who just really want to work, want to do. And
So,
it doesn't really matter what the reason is. It can be because of the goal that we are serving, because of our vision, or just because you love to program. I don't really care why. As long as it's something that motivates you.
Let me play the devil's advocate here, right? The evil CEO wants their employees to work as hard as possible. That's not exactly what you're saying. Why is this level of commitment and hard work, why is it important both for the company, obviously, but also for the employee? What does it create? Give us a little bit more color here.
That's a challenging question.
I can tell you a story about myself and give you a moment to think there. I'm working my ass off for my current company. We build drones and we serve law enforcement agencies. And I remember 20 years ago, I was working for a company called Celebrite, and we were also serving law enforcement. And I actually built the first forensic device. And it was an idea of Adi, the CEO from America, and Ron and I built that device. We programmed the first version. I hired the first team. I hired the guys that hacked the Apple phone. Every single person I hired, I shared the following story. The Metropolitan Police in the UK was able to catch a pedophile who was molesting a 13-year-old girl. There was a 6-second recording of the molesting. He deleted that recording. And yet our device, the Celebrite UFED, was able to reverse engineer, extract that. Because when you delete something, you delete just the first, it's still on the file system. We were able to extract that, encrypt it, give it as evidence to the courts. He was put away. So I worked my ass off because I believed in that mission. And every single person that I hired worked their ass off because they believed in that mission. So I think that maybe hard work for me in that organization and in the organization that I'm in right now, it's not the requirement, it's the symptom. So that's how I see your comment. How do you kind of see it from your perspective?
First, I highly appreciate. I like your story, truly. And if it's okay on your end, I'd love to use it.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. I don't have stock in Celebrite anymore. I mean, they should probably give me. That company went when we sold the company. It was $80 million. I still remember, the smile Ron had on his face. He was the CEO. He had a good percentage in the company. He had this amazing smile on his face the day that the money cleared into his bank account. But it's a $1 billion company nowadays, and that was I triggered that. Like I did the pivot because I did the research. So I'm like, I had a big part in this, so I feel proud about that. But yeah, no stock anymore. So they should send me some.
You should. Well, I think, as I told you, I expect people to be enthusiastic about what you're doing and to be very committed to what you're doing,
Right.
no matter what it is. As I told you, some would be because of the vision, because we are doing good and doing some very important and going to save some people, which we'll discuss probably later, save people's lives from time to time, actually. But I don't really care why. It can be just because you love coding. It can be just, I used to work for corporates. You can just be a clerk or an administrative whatever. I don't really care. Love what you do.
Yeah, there's no
Love
small
what
jobs.
you do. I don't like this give and take. You're giving me $5, so I should just no. Leave it with all your heart. It's good for everyone. It's good for the organization, but it's also good for you as a person. If you're in a give and take situation with anyone, I mean, you're in kind of it's war, it's combat.
Yeah.
You gave me more, I gave him good. Now let's do the math. Now let's do. It's bad energy for you.
You know what? So
give everything you can, and I, as an organization, will do my best to give you anything I can. But let's not do this math.
I mean, shouldn't this be so simple? Like, you should do a job that you love and enjoy and want to do with all your heart because that's going to make you happy. Like, isn't it as simple as that?
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
So I want to talk about scams, and
Talk about scams.
yeah, bank scams, and it's a topic that you have become quite an expert in. So, before we talk about, and keep me honest here, Leprechaun, we don't really talk about companies and in the podcast, but we do talk about the problem sets. So I want to talk about your current problem. Who are you serving? What are the customers' pains? And if you can, give me an example. Like, what have you seen your customers basically tell you horror stories?
Okay. So first, let's discuss. We are serving banks. We sell to banks and to insurance companies. We are saving their customers.
Oh,
So
hold on. Saving is a
let's start,
strong word. You gotta explain that.
let's start with the customers, with the end, with the one who is not paying us, so is not aware to our existence at all.
Hmm.
Like the story that you told that this young girl knew nothing about Celebrite. Okay, so this is our position. Okay. So let's talk about scams. Let's talk about social engineering scams. It's something that started to explode around 2021, some 4 years ago, late COVID times, where criminal organization kind of discovered the perfect crime. The perfect crime is, instead of hacking into customer accounts, bank accounts, or phishing for their credentials and then logging into their accounts and stealing their money, the perfect crime is just making simple phone calls and asking, "Hey Ari, would you mind transfer your funds to my account?" More than 1 million Americans a year say yes.
Okay, this is stupid. Like, we've all like you get the prince from Nigeria and the oh, I've got a casket of gold that I need to transfer out of Africa. And I'm always like, who falls for this? And then the other day I'm talking to a CEO who tells me that a friend of his, another CEO, was it responded in an email, "Oh, I can't meet tomorrow. I'm busy helping transfer a casket of gold out of Africa." And this guy, he's like a top security guy, right? Len. Um, he's like, so he calls up his friend right away and like, dude, you're being scammed. Like, how do smart, intelligent people fall? And clearly it's happening all the time. It's a big industry. How do they fall for this?
Extremely sophisticated manipulating techniques that these criminal organizations are using. Um, I'll give you some examples. For example, phone call, 10 p.m. at night. "Hello, Ari, we are from your bank fraud prevention department. Everything is okay. Relax. We just want to ask, did you just try to transfer $7,000 from your account to this specific bank in Uzbekistan?" And you said, "No, I didn't." They said, "Everything is under control. No worry. We're holding. Don't try to log into your account. It's under control. We're moving it to FBI investigation." And a bit later, you get a phone call from the FBI. And this guy, of course, he would go to in video if you want, and you would see him in the FBI and stuff like that. And you should not log into your account. And then they even keep you updated from time to time what's going on. And then you get an urgent call saying, "Okay, the bank couldn't stop them. They're logging into your account. You need right now, at this moment, to transfer all your funds to an account controlled by the FBI. We're going to save your money there. Do it now." Okay. And this is only one of, we've heard tens, and probably there are more horrible stories. It can be this is imposter scam. It can be investment scam. We have a great opportunity. And this great opportunity can be that you met Facebook or LinkedIn, a group of someone who is connected to Mr. Bill Ackman himself. And he works with him and he advises him. and now you somehow become part of a group that enjoy what he knows from working directly with Ekman. And of course, over time, you hear people in this group exploring the vast amounts of money that they did with the advice of this guy, and you become part of it, and then they manipulate you into investing in their accounts. And it can be Roman scam. In Roman scam, once again, we heard people highly intelligent, educated, very successful people who fell prey because they're extremely sophisticated, these guys, in how they manipulate people. And to make things worse, it's we now understand that it is easier to deceive people than to make people believe they've been deceived. So in many cases, the bank would call you and say, hey, this is fraud. And you say, no, it's not fraud. And you would go to your bank and you would sign a paper saying, I authorize this transaction and it's not fraud.
Mm.
So this is what we're dealing with. And
Man, this is the long con, right? These confidence men and maybe women as well are playing the long con. You need to be so smart, so intelligent, so technologically savvy. Wouldn't they just do the work? Like, wouldn't it be better for them just to provide the service and be honest? Like, this is so much work going into these cons. How does it make sense? And you're breaking the law. You're going to have the feds and who else come after you? Like, just do the work. Like, how does this make sense?
okay, there was an article in the 6 months ago in the AP News under the headline. I think it was scammers are scamming billions from Americans every year, and worse, most of them are getting away with it.
Oh, my Lord.
And the reason that most of them are getting away with it is that most of this crime is not conducted from within the United States, mainly from Asia, Myanmar, some places in the Philippines. It's the world's largest criminal organization now running the show there, because it seems to be more profitable on their end than other crimes that they used to work with. And as I told you, it's kind of the perfect crime. So it exploded with only few years to more than 50% of reported fraud in the United States.
Wow.
According to the Federal Trade Committee data.
So, okay, let's go to the horror stories now. If that wasn't bad enough, let's make it worse. More than 2 years ago, something wonderful and something terrible happened, and it was the same thing. ChatGPT came along, and this is not individual hackers. These are now criminal organizations, organized crime. This is governments. This is basically hostile governments. They are now taking ChatGPT, or really it's a different LLM. They're using it locally in the dark web. They have removed all guardrails, so it will do whatever it's told. And they're now simulating real people, sending out emails. They have support desks. They have productized criminal software to be sold as a SaaS service. So the young and aspiring criminal can commit fraud or phishing attacks or whatever. And then if you're a young and aspiring criminal, you can call customer success and be like, hey, I'm trying to defraud this person. The software, can it do this and this? And then they'll answer and tell you, hey, this is what you should do. Most people don't know about the story that I've just told, unless you're in the security industry like yourself. This is getting scary. Like, the criminals, it feels, are light years ahead of us. So one is, feel free to share any story that you have, but how do we catch up?
Okay. To be honest, it's challenging, and yes, we do have a problem. And as you said, these guys are well financed, they have great technologies. To make things a bit lighter for this conversation, from time to time, I tell my investors that we're fighting guys who are in a better position than I am. Because when I want to sell my product to bank, I have some 80 meetings there, and they have to approve it and check and that. And this is the story that they tell my investors. These guys tell their investors, "Give me a name of a bank, and I'll give you their money." And so yes, and they rapidly advance, but it's not just the technical story. The story gets even worse. They make real phone calls. Illegal call centers are making billions of phone calls to American citizens every year, according to official data. It is conducted mostly from as I told you, from Asia, Myanmar, places like this, by world's largest criminal organizations. How do they make billions of real phone calls? And what's going on there is that they have they're now dealing with human trafficking.
Oh my Lord!
And the estimations are there currently more than 100,000 people who've been trafficked there, and are forced to make these phone calls.
Oh my Lord!
So it's horrible.
Shlomo, being
No other words.
exposed,
Yes.
being exposed to really the worst sides of humanity. Do you sometimes come home and just think to yourself, like, the devil is real and it's in the hearts of these men and women?
Yes, the devil is real, and it's the heart of some of these people. And from time to time, when we actually meet real stories, not just the data. When we stump, they're horrible, just horrible. I mean, it makes people really pissed off in our office. I see even engineers, which don't really just have to code. When they get involved with these stories, they just get pissed off because it's horrible. No other words. Yes, and we are and other organizations trying to do what we can to save these good people.
What's your call to action? So if you had to ask, every single bank, every single person at home listening to us, what would be your call to action? What should they do?
Let's start with the end consumer, and then with the bank. End consumer, unfortunately, I would recommend anyone to do things that, I hate. I'm saying it. It's not my nature, but unfortunately, don't trust anyone. I keep telling my mother, if you get a phone call from me or from one of your grandchildren saying, "Hey, mom," and you see us on video, and it's us, and I say, "Hey, I got stuck. I just need you help me with your credit card."
Oh my Lord!
Hang off on your grandchildren or your children, and call us.
So
Don't
for
trust
anybody
anyone.
that's
Your
not
bank is
following,
calling you. Unfortunately, it's not good for humanity. It's not good for people to think this way. I rather be living in a world where people trust each other. Unfortunately, these guys forced us, and
Lord.
because of the magnitude, it's not rare. It's not something that it's not going to hit. No, it may hit each one of us. Okay?
Targeting senior citizens is just evil. But for anybody who didn't follow what Shlomo just said, they are creating digital avatars of real people with their real voices, and they are attacking their family. Like that's what explains, right? That's the technology that is making your grandchild call you. It sounds like your grandchild, and it's like, "Hey, I'm stuck, grandma, can you help me?" And then, "Hey, can you give me your credit card?" Like that is
You can see him on a video call. And yes, that's your grandchild, that's your kid. Yes,
Lord help us.
we just need some help. And
So what should we do? Just call grandma back to so like, "Hey,
hang
grandma
off.
to call back,"
Hang
right?
off. Yes, hang the
Okay.
call. Call him.
Call your grandma. That's call
No, no,
grandma.
no, no, no. If your grandma, hang the call.
Yeah.
Say, "I love you. I'm going to call you in a second."
Yeah.
Hang the call. Call him.
Sorry. Call your
Call him.
grandchild. Yeah, that's right.
Call your grandchild.
Call.
Yes.
Hang up the phone.
Just to
Call your
make sure that
grandchild back.
just to make sure that it was
Wonderful.
really him on the
Wonderful.
phone.
So if
Okay.
grandma is
So
calling you,
is your bank, so is anyone who approached
love it.
you on their, they initiated the call.
I love it. So just call your grandchildren, talk to grandma, call her back if she asks for your credit card. I love that. What about the banks?
Okay.
What about the financial institutions?
Okay, financial institutions, I must say, are doing a lot of effort. Now it's being regulated, becoming regulated, but they did a lot of effort to protect their customers before regulation. So they spend a fortune, they invest a fortune in fraud investigators and in fraud detection systems and stuff like that. They are doing all they can to protect their system, and in many cases, they even reimbursed, compensated customers who lost money to fraud, despite the fact that the bank had nothing to do with it. In many cases, it happened. So I do appreciate the bank approach. And now it's been regulated. In the UK and Australia, it's been regulated starting October 24. In the United States, it's about to be regulated. The drafts are there, ready to be signed. So banks will have to reimburse customers who fell prey to such type of fraud. Now, that's very interesting, because let's give it a second thought. It's the first time I spent 2 decades in the banking industry. Never seen such regulation. Because once again, the story is a customer,
Right.
me, for example, logged into my bank account from my own device using my own credentials. Nothing happened. Didn't cancel my fingerprint authorization. Transfer funds. I believed I was doing something good, something
Right.
okay. I invested, or I sent it to my new loved one.
Right.
My funds. And then when I found out it was a scam, the bank will have to reimburse me.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
There is only one question that is scripted in this show, and it's a hard question because it's personal. Shlomo, if you had to go back to 20-something-year-old young Shlomo, what advice would you give him?
Wow. I don't know. Probably be yourself. Stick to who you are. I mean, and don't feel uncomfortable when you hear from people surrounding you that your way is going to lead you to nowhere. Stay you. Don't try to follow the what you're expected to do. Stay innovative, and that's it.
Shlomo, you have been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for joining our show today. I appreciate you truly, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. We don't do this, but since this is such an important, I think, work that you're doing, we're going to mention the company. Keep me honest here, it's Leprechaun. That's the pronunciation. And it's got a really cool logo. It's like a green hat, kind of like a leprechaun, and a thumbtick. I thought that was delightful. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for your service to your community. And thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Ari. Real pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much.